Okay, hello everybody. It is December 5th, 2025, and wanted to discuss gerrymandering that's been going on. And I'm going to take a specific point of it here. First off, welcome new subscribers. Thank you everyone for the new comments. Certainly appreciate them. As you know, Trump has managed to get several Republican states to try to change their congressional maps, which they're really not supposed to do until after the 2030 census, to try to create a stronger Republican advantage in the House of Representatives. Um, the current state of affairs, obviously, the Republicans have a very narrow lead, just a couple of votes, especially now that Marjorie Taylor Greene is about to be retiring, which I'll get to that in a second. She's going to leave at the beginning of January, which has been hilarious to watch, by the way. The midterms are coming up, and there's been a lot of sort of angst on the Democrat side about, hey, well, when this gerrymander happens, will we be able to take back the House? The important thing to know to start with is that after the 2020 census, when they redid the districts, the primary thing you saw was the number of safe Democrat and Republican seats both exploded, and the number of competitive swing seats plummeted. So what it actually, in my opinion, set up was it actually made it easier for the Republicans to retain control of the House, but made it almost impossible for the Republicans to ever have some of those big, 245, 250 seat majorities that we had in the, like after 2014 or after 2016 or something like that, because there's just not that many competitive swing states. Sorry, not swing states, swing seats. So with the new gerrymander coming on, several Democrats have come out and said, "Hey, we gotta do the same thing. We got to get our blue states going." And there has been a lot of disappointment on the Democrat side about, well, why aren't we doing this? And well, I wanted to kind of give an answer to that question. And let me give you some information that was provided by Tim Burchett, who's a Republican congressman from Tennessee. Based on recent election results, in Massachusetts, Republicans gained, which has eight House seats. Massachusetts Republicans got 36% of the vote, and they got 0 seats. In Connecticut, Republicans got 42% of the vote and 0 seats. In Maine, 46%. In New Mexico, 46%. In New Hampshire, 48. Rhode Island, 42. Vermont, 32. Hawaii, 38. Delaware, 42. These are all the percentages. Across all those states, all those House seats that they have, the Republicans have a total of 0 seats. In other words, many of the deep blue states, the ones that are already just firmly in the Democrat camp, have already been gerrymandered to a point where even when Republicans get nearly half the vote, they cannot win a single seat. Now, you can do this exact same exercise for some red states as well. You can find several red states and say, look at all these states, put together all the, Democrat votes. You're going to find millions of votes. You're going to find some of them statewide. If you do all the House elections put together, the Democrats are getting 35%, 38%, 43%, something like that, and they don't hold a single seat. So you're going to be able to find that on the other side too. But the basic point is, Democrats already gerrymandered their states, and they gerrymandered the hell out of them. For some weird reason, most Democrats don't know this. They are under the impression that gerrymandering is something only done by Republicans, and it is not. It has been widely done by both sides. And so this, in my mind, is a problem for a couple of reasons. The first reason is, like I said, and this is actually to me the most important one, is the lack of competitive swing seats. Those competitive seats drag both parties to the middle. You can't veer off hard to the left or hard to the right, because then you lose the middle and then the other side retakes control of the House. So it kind of keeps everyone having to be reasonable. It also means you have to be focused on issues that have broad levels of interest, as opposed to ones that have very narrow levels of interest. So things like what we usually call them kitchen table issues. What's going on with healthcare? What's going on with cost of living? What's going on with availability of jobs? Stuff like that. There are other issues like education and crime. Those are really more local issues, but a lot of people kind of paste those on to national elections. I should say federal elections as opposed to national. But the point is stuff that generally matters to a lot of people, a lot of Republicans, a lot of Democrats, a lot of swing voters. If you have a bunch of swing seats that are competitive, both parties have to focus on those, or else they're going to lose all of those. When you don't have those, it's much easier to focus on this goofy group on the right or this goofy group on the left and their stupid thing that they're all over on Twitter all day posting about that matters to like 2% of the population, and oftentimes is absolutely bat crap crazy. To answer the question that I've seen many Democrats post, or really not a question, many of them say, we have to go do this. The answer is you already did. And so there's really not much left. It's not just that the low hanging fruit is gone, all the medium hanging fruit is gone. You probably could gerrymander out a couple more seats here and there, but there's really not much available. And in so doing, you're almost going to have to create some additional safe Republican seats. Because the way you make a safe seat is you pack a district very heavily with your constituents. Well, that means that you don't have a whole lot of constituents to put into a battleground seat because you have packed them into another one. So it doesn't work out quite as well as everyone wants. I will tell you at this point, yes, I absolutely think that the Democrats are going to control the House after the next set of midterms. I think it'll be a fairly narrow majority because the way the electoral map is set up, there's so many safe Republican seats, so many safe Democrat seats. The Democrats sort of have that same problem the Republicans do. Even if they win the House, they can't really win a big majority. Now, the difference there is the Democrats have a functional House caucus. Theirs works. Their people like AOC and Ilhan Omar and I can't think of the Presley. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name. But ones like that, the guy Green from Texas, who are always, jumping up and down and making fools of themselves. They vote the party line. When push comes to shove and the speaker, in this case would be Hakeem Jeffries, previously it's been Nancy Pelosi, needs their votes, they get them. And they get them every single time. These folks will never pass a single piece of meaningful legislation that they themselves put forward. This is never going to happen. They are exclusively there to do two things. Generate social media content. I should say three things. Do fundraisers and provide votes. They do not actually do any of the meat and potatoes work. That's a bunch of congressmen and women that you've probably never heard of. Because the ones who stay out of the spotlight are the ones who have the ability to do the hard work to actually make legislation happen. So it will be a much more effective Congress or House than what the Republicans have experienced. But overall, it's still going to be a very narrow majority. And you're still going to be in a situation where even just 3 or 4 or 5 can basically, if they're willing to work together, can say, this is our price if you want our votes. You're going to have to give us this because we can blow up anything you want. The Republicans have the same problem with, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Greene Taylor is one, Nancy Mace, who's just a attention fanatic. There are certainly some others as well. By the way, it is much harder for male congressmen, although, Matt Gaetz certainly is an exception, as God knows he did it as well as anyone. It is harder for them to be social media darlings. People like to see women on that more than they do men. Either way, I did want to say one quick, absolutely hilarious thing about Marjorie Greene Taylor, who, as you know, I've mentioned her several times before. I think she's a total nut job. When she announced that she was going to leave Congress, I believe on January 5th, that meant that the Republican House caucus would only have a 2-seat majority. And since Thomas Massie and Chip Roy frequently vote no on things, that means that they can basically name their price, and they are going to get anything they want, or they are going to just shut down the House, and they have the power to do that. A Republican, or I should not Republican really, a MAGA influencer, Cernovich, did a tweet at her where he said, you need to finish your term serving in the House. He didn't say the rest of it, but obviously the implication is, you need to protect our majority so we can get legislation through. And she came back with the most hilarious set of feminist talking points. You're just a sexist man who wants me, and she actually said this, to go back in the kitchen and make him a sandwich. He literally told her to go to work in the United States Congress, and she came back with, you just want me in the kitchen, you sexist. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be moving to the Democrat side of the aisle fairly soon. She will have a fairly lucrative career as the former MAGA Trump critic, if she wants it. I don't know if she does. I think she does, but time will tell. She's sitting down for a 60 Minutes interview. She's already been on The View. There is money to be made as a Trump critic, especially one who is one of his most zealous supporters before. So yeah, it is going to be funny, but I want to be clear to the question, why don't Democrats gerrymander? It's because they already have. I do think Democrats will win the House. It will be a narrow majority. Their majority will be much more functional than the Republican one. Still, it's not going to be all that great because it is going to be narrow, and all it takes is a couple of them to say, we don't want to do this, or if you want to do this, you're going to have to give us all of these things, and they're going to be done. And Hakeem Jeffries is no Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was very clear. You were going to do what she wants, or she was going to end you. And she had the power to do it, by the way. Those were not idle threats that she made. Jeffries does not have that. Maybe he will in the future. I don't know, but right now he doesn't. But either way, hope everyone's enjoyed the video. Leave your comments below. Tell me where you think I got it right, where you think I got it wrong. And as always, I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.